Howdy folks, welcome to another After the Game Highlights. In fact, the last After the Game Highlights of the 2011 season. Coach Keith Etheredge joins us once again to talk about this whole year. And Coach, your team finished with a 10-3 record, an appearance in the quarterfinals of the playoffs, and you had a little time to mull the season over. So if you would, share some of your thoughts about the year with us.
I thought we had a great year. Obviously you want to end it in a state championship game with a win, but that can't happen every year. And I think about what these seniors have accomplished, and all the stuff we've been through together as a senior group, as these guys go through, and they've won 2 state championships. They've made it to the semifinals, a quarterfinal appearance. And I think back, and they've been at least to the quarterfinals every single year. So I'm very, very proud of these guys. Even though they a lot of them think, quarterfinals, I think we should have did a lot better. But you look at our region, and our region's very, very tough. I think there's 3 of the top, 3 or 4 teams in the state in our region. So, I mean, you can look at it by, Hanley defeated Clay County, put Clay County out. Clay County defeated us and put us out. The only games we lost all year were 2 teams within our region. That's including 4 and 5A schools. So, I think we had a great year. It's a great group of young men, and we got a great group coming back next year. So, it just, we're just still, in the process. We built a program. You talk about 3A football and talk about Leeds, and people think about football, good football. And that's what we started out to do, and that's what these young men have done, over the past 4 years they've been in school. They've dedicated themselves to excellence, and they've achieved it.
And obviously, you talked about some of those games in there. You had a lot of important ones. What do you think was a game that kind of defined your season?
I would have to say the Clay County game, both of them, because, all year we were real close to being a great football team, and just, missed that one big play here or one big play there. And that's the same way in the Clay County game. We were 1 play away from winning the game, in both games. And, that could have put us in the semis and also put us in the 2nd spot in the region. So, but, I sit there and I say that stuff, but we had a fantastic year. I couldn't be prouder of these guys. They worked their reins off day in, day out during the summer, and have been great ambassadors for not only our football program, but our school system, our community, the city of Leeds. And I couldn't be prouder of these guys. There's other games that probably wouldn't find our season too. The way we played against St. Clair County, the way we started the season off against Alexandria. I mean, you look at the Alexandria team, we beat 38-14. Is that right? 38-14.
That sounds about right.
They beat Aniana, who played in the state championship for 4A. So I mean, you can sort of gauge yourself off what you did against other teams, what other teams did against each other, and you sit and think, how good are we, and how good was our region, and how good, So there's a lot of things that go into it, but I'm just proud of the guys.
Yeah, and when your quote down year is 10-3, I think you're doing pretty well. And your seniors gave you a lot of years like that. They've won in the past 4 years 51 games and lost 6. Just 6 games. Won 2 state championships. Tell us a little bit about what they've accomplished, those seniors, and what they mean to you.
Well, they almost average 13 wins a season. Average playing over 14 games a season, over 14 games a season. So these seniors have played a lot of football here at Leeds High School. Like you said, you're talking about 4 years, you're talking about playing 57 games in 4 years. It's a lot of football games. We practice every year on Thanksgiving, except for this year. We missed about a week because Thanksgiving was pushed, it didn't fall where it'd be 3rd round playoffs, fell where it'd be 4th round playoffs. But, I think back to the history of Leeds High School. Leeds High School's won 10 ball games 1 year before these seniors were freshmen. These seniors have won at least 10 ball games each and every year they've been here. Won 15, won 11, then won 15, then won 10. So they've accomplished, you know, I don't know if the record will ever be touched, 51-6 over a 4-year span. That's going to be tough, you know. So the only way next year's group can tie that record is if they go 15-0. So, you know, that's going to be a tough record to break, you know. But you know, the young guys, we're going to push them and strive for them to tie that record, you know, and be the, you know, tied for the winningest group to ever come through. So
you've got a lot of memories with these kids.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you spent probably more than 4 years with most of them. You got any you want to share?
Well, I mean, there, like you said, there've been so good memories with these guys. Real special group to me. Real special group of young men. They put a lot of effort forth and do a lot to represent our school system and our football program and our city. You know, they begged and pleaded about the blackout stuff, and I mulled over it, and you know, for five years, you know, I said no, we're not going to do that. And then, you know, this year, you know, we got about two games in, and you know, I'm sitting there thinking about what these kids have accomplished during their time here, and me and the coaching staff sort of talked, and you know, we went and let them get the blackout stuff, and it was just, I think that was a real special thing, because they were out on the track, you know, getting their senior stuff done, and you know, the younger guys come in, and we get dressed in the black, and you know, those older guys come in, and it was just one of those things where, you know, they've been asking for it for so long, and the reaction, you know, from those guys to that was, you know, something that you don't forget as a coach. And you know, I know there's a lot of people like, we don't have black in our jerseys, and I think they saw the reaction of those guys to that. There ain't no question.
Well, they loved it, I know, because they almost ran me over. I was trying to take pictures of it.
And it was a good moment, and I think those guys have deserved it, and it was well worth it for me. You know, I think that they've done everything they've been asked to do. I thought they looked dang good. I thought they were, and they went out and they played well. It would be different if you put them in that stuff and they go out and they lay an egg and don't play as well as they should. But they needed something to sort of pick them up a little bit. You know, we had a tough game the week before, and I thought that was a situation where we could do that against a rival, and you know, get them sort of fired up, and it did. You know, I think it worked out for the best. And, kids loved it. They played hard. And, you know, got a big win against Moody. So.
And maybe our last one for a while.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, they don't have a lot to win. You know, when playing against us. You know, if they beat us, they're a 5A school. They're supposed to beat us. If we beat them, it's sort of embarrassing, because we're a 3A school, and you know, a 3A school is not supposed to beat a 5A school. But you know, it's great to have that competition, and that, you know, and it's been a pretty clean rivalry, you know, and I wish we could continue it, but you know, I understand the situation. I completely do.
Well, I just wish that, you know, they wouldn't be able to go forward, because this is the one game every year that I think Leeds, you know, you knew you had to get pumped up for that game.
Right, because it's a rivalry.
Yeah.
In St. Clair too.
St. Clair County.
And we lose both of those guys, so it makes it tough. But we pick up, you know, we pick up Lincoln, who used to be a rivalry for us, so we can renew that rivalry. And we also pick up a team that's been a rivalry for us, Piedmont, you know, who's another 3A school that, you know, we can set up a good rivalry with, and they're a good football team. They're supposed to be real good next year. Got 24 seniors coming back, so that's a good gauge for our program to see where we're at.
Speaking of next year, what do you expect your team's strengths to be next year, and maybe what are some areas where you're going to need your new guys to step up to?
Well, obviously we lose 4 offensive linemen, and 2 of our defensive linemen. So those are two spots where we're going to have some guys step up and, make an impact, some of the other guys. And we also, you lose a guy like Ladarius Roberts who rushed for 2,138 yards and 30 touchdowns. And I think Chris Edwards will do a good job of stepping in there and filling some void. Ron Woods will fill some of the void. You got Adam Mitchell. You got, we're going to do some things different offensively to help those guys out. I think we're going to be more of that we're going to throw the ball a little more next year. We've got some good receivers coming back. We've got some speed. We'll have more speed next year than we did this year. We're not going to be quite as big, but we're going to have a lot more speed, and we're going to have to utilize that if we expect to win a lot of football games.
So you definitely see a little bit more of a passing attack this next year, which is not something we saw a little of it in the 2010 season, which Shane McGinn is.
Right.
But who do you think will be leading?
Well, I think that right now we got a young man who'll be a freshman next year. Tadarius Marshall. Tadarius Marshall's a great football player. He's a outstanding young man who's worked himself, very, very hard during the off season. He's a wrestler, plays baseball, does a little bit of everything. Very, very good athlete. I think he's going to step and do a fantastic job for us. And I think before all said and done, in his 4 years, I think he'll be the best quarterback ever to come out of Leeds High School. And there's been some good ones.
Yeah.
You've got Trip Danbury and some of the guys like that, Russ Perkins. There's been some real good quarterbacks coming out of Leeds High School. And I think he's going to be at the top of the list before it's all said and done. He's got all the tools. Got a little cannon for an arm, and he's a hard worker. And, I think he'll do a fantastic job. The thing about him is he can play so many different positions. He's just that kind of athlete. We put him at safety, he'd be a great safety. We put him at wide receiver, he's an unbelievable wide receiver. So he just does a lot of things.
All right, so Coach, you had some final remarks you wanted to make about the season and everything, so take her away.
I'd just like to thank everybody for supporting us this year. Obviously we had a great year, another quarterfinal appearance, and these guys really appreciate everything that the community, the school system, all the other coaches, all the parents, of course, and, everybody's done to support these guys and help them, be successful and get a lot out of the football season this year, and a lot out of playing football, and also being student athletes at Leeds High School. Every aspect's so important. The cheerleaders, the band, all the sponsors, all those people are so important. The Leeds Quarterback Club, fantastic job of helping raise money for us this year. It's very important. Principal Mike Turner, for all his dedication and work, and assistant principal Mr. Hall, all those people put so much into it, and they're sort of behind the scenes. You don't see them as much, but they made a tremendous amount to our young men and our program. We just like to thank all of them.
Thank you, Coach, for being with us once again.
And Leeds Herald.
Thanks, sir. And I just wanted to thank you for doing this with us. You got a little money for your team through our sponsorship, and but still, there's not many coaches who take a time out of their day to come and G-jaw with us for a little while. And I also want to thank the players big time, because writing about losing is not fun, and I haven't had to do that since I started covering Leeds much, and that's great. And like I said, we're grateful for you.
We talk about it all. We talk about it all the time. Me and the guys talk about it all the time. In every classification, you're going to have one team that ends the year with a win. Only one out of the 64. So if you want to be that team, you gotta bust it to get there, and then when you get there, make it happen. So it's not going to happen every year.
No, and it's to have it happen even 2 out of 4.
That's exactly.
But congratulations on another great year, Coach. And thanks to everyone who watched us this year, to all the fans who came out and supported the program, supported the show, and to our sponsors who helped make this show possible. I want to wish everyone a happy holidays, and remember, roll Greenwave.
We sort of wanted to end it a little special and show y'all, some of the reaction of the guys during the blackout in the locker room when they found out that we were going to do this. Leeds Herald was kind enough to come in and get the reaction of the guys, and I've talked about how special that moment was. So we're going to show it to you, and here it is.